You're welcome. All right, um, so what is WordPress? It's just a tool to build websites. It's the most popular tool by far. So you've probably heard of other ones like Wix.com. They help you build web pages. Um, and then there's Weebly, and I guess there's some other ones that are advertised here. Webador. There's always some new ones coming out. But again, WordPress is just the most popular by far. Um, the world's most popular website builder. 42% of the web is built on WordPress. So a huge amount of people using WordPress. Um, and the reason why is because well, first of all, it's been around the longest. Um, and also because it's open source software, meaning it's free software that anyone can contribute to. So anyone can build their own templates and put them in the template store, for free or charge money for it. They could create plugins for it. It's yeah, so that's the point of open source. Um, so just like the software that we're probably gonna need, I don't know if we're gonna actually need VS Code for this class. You think about it. We're just gonna be using WordPress, mostly using the WordPress plugins and stuff. So most likely we won't need VS Code too much, but still good idea to download it if you don't have it. Um, but again, Visual Studio Code is also free, built on open source. It's what makes Visual Studio popular, right? So something that's open source means the code for the software, the original code is out there. It's for anyone to use and contribute to. Okay, it's not owned by a company like Adobe or something like Dreamweaver. So um, most of the popular tools out there are open source. Um, later when first we're going to use WordPress.com. We'll just mess around with that, build a quick blog or website. But then when we're installing the actual WordPress software from WordPress.org, we're going to need to download some more open source free stuff. Most likely XAMPP. I don't know how you pronounce it, but XAMPP. Um, so this is going to be necessary if you want to have WordPress installed on your computer, okay? Because WordPress requires server software, which will be the Apache. It's going to also need MariaDB, which is the database that WordPress is going to need for saving all the information like usernames and posts, and all that information has to get saved somewhere. So you're going to need a database for that. You're also going to need PHP because that's the programming language that WordPress is built on. Okay, so XAMPP, when we download that, will give us all three of these plus Perl. I don't think we need Perl, but comes with that too. So we'll also need that, which is again open source. Okay, but before we get into that, like I said, we're just gonna sign up for WordPress.com just to get used to the WordPress admin page and all the panels and stuff that it has, the options you get. Okay, so I'm gonna need all of you guys in the WordPress class to click get started. You're gonna have to sign up. You might have already created an account before, so you could just log in. But if you haven't, you're gonna need to put in your email address, give yourself a username and a password, and create your account. And I'm pretty sure you're probably gonna have to do some confirming your email and stuff. So check your email for the confirmation link. Okay. And then once you're ready, we'll be looking at the same page. Okay. So let me give you guys a few minutes. Give you guys like 5 minutes to sign up for WordPress.com, and then I'll get back to you. Okay. And then in the meantime, um, Gail, you're the one student in 166. We're going to be working with GitHub, so you're going to want to sign up for github.com. Okay, so um, you're going to want to go to github.com. I'm already signed in here as instructor D, so you want to click sign up and join that one. Okay, so everyone right now is signing up for something. If you're in the WordPress class, sign up for WordPress. If you're in Web Design 2 or 166, you're going to be signing up for GitHub. Okay, if you're new, you're going to click create an account. So again, I'll check back in like 4 minutes and I'll sign into WordPress and then we'll continue. Any questions? Okay, let me pause. Okay, so the personal plan, $4 a month. What do you get over the free account? Domain name. So you get to pick a name. With the free one, you don't really get to pick a name. It's just going to be something.wordpress.com. And then, of course, there's business and e-commerce, and these are just way more expensive. So we can also check annually if that's cheaper. Oh no, that was annually. If you only pay for a month, it's going to be more expensive. So if you just wanted like 1 month of WordPress, personal would have cost you $7 instead of $4. Okay, because you're not paying for 12 months, you're only paying for 1 month, so it's going to be more expensive. Anyway, let's go back because we're going to stick with the free plan. It'll probably ask us what plan we want to choose after we pick our design here. So let's just pick something. I'll pick something simple, like maybe this one. So just click on one of these and pick a font pairing. So you could pick what kind of fonts you want to use with this, and it'll give you some suggestions. Let's just go with this one. And you can preview this on a tablet or a mobile device, see what it'll look like. And we can click continue. Which features will you need? Okay, so here's where it's asking you what features you need, so then it'll figure out what plan to put you on. Do you need custom domains? So do you want to pick a different name instead of xyz123.wordpress.com? Which, by the way, I should change that because I really don't want to. I just typed that in as an example, but let's just say LAPC. Just LAPC. Let's see what it gives us. Let's do WST167. And that works free. WST167.wordpress.com. Surprisingly not taken. Continue. So that means our site is going to be at WordPress. Actually, it's going to be WST167.wordpress.com. So if you wanted people to visit your blog, your free site would be this. So pick a name for yourself. Choose a domain name. Which features will we need? Custom domain? No, we don't. We're not going to need that because will cost money. Store cost money. SEO tools. All of these will cost money. So we're gonna skip. Select the plan. We want the free plan. Why isn't it giving us the option? We gotta click show all options or show all plans. And there's free. So we click on that one. And it starts building your site. We could take the tour, I guess, since we are trying to learn how to use it. So this short tour to learn the fundamentals of WordPress editor. But let me give you guys a little bit of time to get to this point. So pick your domain name. Mine is wst167.wordpress.com. So pick one for yourself. Go through the options. Make sure you choose the free plan unless you want to pay for it. But probably not a good idea to pay for it right now until we get to learn how to use WordPress and then figure out if we're going to stick with WordPress.com or use WordPress.org and download the free software and install it on a separate host. Okay, so I'll give you guys a minute. Oops. Can you hear me now? Okay, so as I was saying, you heard the part where I was saying the site right now, if you visit it, it's gonna say coming soon. It's not really up yet. But once we click launch site, then it's still gonna try to convince us to purchase something. So we're just gonna say skip purchase, start with free trial, don't choose any of those. And then give it a couple seconds. Now let's try that incognito tab again. Let's refresh it. And now it's working. So now it's actually launched. So if you guys type this in your browser, you should be able to see the same thing I'm seeing. Because now it's live on the internet. wst167.wordpress.com. Okay, so let me close this incognito tab and let's check it out. So if we go to pages now, we should see one home page. This is from the template. If you click on that, it will show us that one home page. Here it is again. And we're back to this editor again. Like I said, this was the editor for editing your pages. So this is where you would go if you wanted to make some changes here. Like change that to Bob and Bob. And click update. And now we go back. So if you click here, give us a little preview of the site. We can click visit site to get a better preview. So now it says Bob and Bob. But again, to edit the page, you would go, let's see, if you want to get back out of this place where you edit the page, you want to click here and then click dashboard. And it says you have unsaved changes. It's okay. So again, you want to edit a page, you go to pages and you click on the page and you can edit it. This looks a little bit different than what it would look like if we downloaded wordpress.org, but it's almost the same, okay? So if you want to add a new page, you can click add new page. If you want to add a post, currently we don't have any posts. I think if you chose a different template than the one I chose, you might have some default posts already. You might have more pages than me. The one I chose just gave me this one homepage. Posts are blog posts, okay? If you're not creating a blog, then you probably don't need any posts. You might still make use of posts somehow, but you could just do it the pages. So let's add a new page. If you want to add a new page, click add new page. And again, we can choose a template. So pick a predefined layout to start with a blank page. Okay, so what kind of page do you want to create? Maybe you're creating an about page, so it gives you about pages. You want to create a blog page, then it'll give you some examples of blog templates. Okay. Let's just say we're creating a services page. Give me 1 second. Let me close the window. Okay. All right. So let's say we want to create a services page. Then I'll choose one of these templates here. Let's just pick something here. Burgers. Okay, so it gives us this, and you can see we're already in that page editor. We have the page now. So now we just need to edit it. What do we want to do to it? So we could add new blocks if we want. Remember, we could click this and pick a paragraph, heading, or an image, or a gallery, or slideshow. All kinds of blocks available here. Or we could just edit this one. It's already got a bunch of blocks in it. So, for example, this block right here, if you click on it, you can see here, if you click the options on the side and open this and click on block, it'll tell you what type of block this is. So this one's a cover. This one is not a block. This first one here, add title, that's gonna be on every page. It's gonna ask you if you want to add a title to the page. We'll just say services. Okay, and then so this is an actual block. So this is not a block. This is a block. This is a layout grid, but outside of that is a cover. So we have a cover, and then inside the cover looks like we have a paragraph and a layout grid. We can change the background image. Right now it's on the let's see, it's on this image right here. You could also add a focal point. That's good because let's say you resize the image, it's going to try to keep that focal point visible. Right, so I guess the focal point is right there on the burger, so that part is always visible, even if the image gets cropped. So if we move that focal point somewhere else, like maybe we want it down here on this coffee or whatever that is. What is that? Ketchup? It's barbecue sauce. If we want it there, then we could move that circle to focus on that area. These are all new features. These were not there before, so this is good. They're constantly creating updates for this, and that's what's keeping WordPress alive, or else it would have been long gone. There's a really strong community for WordPress. They're keeping it relevant and popular. Okay, so yeah, there's this also here. You can grab this to resize it manually. There's a minimum height that it's going to allow you to do. Just did something weird, so it's good we can do undo. We go down to the next section. We've got a paragraph block here with some text here. 2 blocks, 8 words, it says. So we've actually got 2 separate blocks here. This first block, paragraph, this is also a paragraph. I guess they're both paragraph blocks, but this one you can see we've got custom font size, 49 pixel font size. Next one is, again, custom font, 16 pixels. More paragraph blocks. So these are all paragraph blocks. This is a spacer, so they added a little spacer here. See, if we want to get rid of that, I could just click, select it and press delete on the keyboard. That will get rid of it. But if we go back, another way to delete it is click here and say remove block. I don't know if that was there, if I accidentally added it. And then we've got our, looks like this is supposed to be the footer area. So sometimes the footer, you don't control it through here. In this case, I guess it is through here, it's through the pages, but depending on the template you're using, there might be different way to change the header and the footer. Again, I'm not sure if this is considered the footer of this page, but if I click on it, we can see it's just another block. In this case, it's a group. Inside the group, we have a YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. I guess these are all separate blocks as well. You can click add block here. You can add, let's get rid of one of them. Let's get rid of the LinkedIn, remove block. We want to add that back in. We click the little plus sign. Okay, because this entire thing is a social icons block. So if you want to add one of these somewhere, let's say we want to add social icons to the top here, click plus. and you want to find the social icons, there's a list of all these types of blocks here. You could just do a search for it if you can't find it. So you can type social, and there it is, social icons. You just drag it up here. Where did it go? Okay, I just added it, and it went down here, but let's click this to have it go up. There it is. So now it's on the top, and click plus to add. So now that we have our social icons, we can see our options here. Let's just click plus to add a few. And by default, it gives us a few here: WordPress, Amazon. I don't know what that is. It's a 5, looks like. I don't know. Bandcamp, Behance. Click browse all. We can see there's a bunch of other stuff here. Um, Etsy, Facebook. Let's just put Facebook and GitHub and Reddit and Twitter and Yelp. If it's a burger place, you're probably just gonna want to have a Yelp up there. Maybe an Instagram and a Facebook. But anyway, let's just say we're going with those. If you want to format this, then you're gonna want to click on the overall, what do you call it, the whole block that contains the social icons instead of an individual social icon. You want to click the whole thing. So here's social icons, and we can say there's different styles here. There's default, there's logos only without the circle around them. There's pill shape, default style. You could choose a default style, so let's say pill shaped is the default. But of course you can override the default. We can change the color of the icon, but I don't think that's a good idea. Let's keep it white. Icon background color can also be changed if you want them all the same color. So like this, they're all blue now, or all brown. You don't want to make them white on white. You could choose a custom color, of course. You don't have to stick with these. Or I'll just clear it and let them be whatever color they are. If I clear this one, also let the inside be whatever color it is, but it's going to be white anyway. Click on advanced. We don't really need to do anything here. Let's see, how do we center this though? Because we want that to be centered, obviously. So we click change alignment and align center. I guess that's for the entire thing. Maybe for these we have separate options. Doesn't look like we can change the appearance of that. Okay, so it doesn't let you customize everything. In this case, I can't even center these. Maybe I can. Oh, there it is. How did that happen? I guess once you click out of it, it's centered by default, so you don't really have to worry about that. Okay, so now it's good. It's a little bit off center, but I guess there's not much we can do about that. So I can click publish and keep that there, or I'll just delete it because I already have it down here. Um, so basic editing is pretty obvious how to do. You just click, you want to change the text, you can do that. Just a few other things. Again, let's figure out if this is actually a footer or is that just something part of this page. So we'll find out if let's go back, go to back to this. Let's go to pages now. So I should have 2 pages, I think, unless I didn't click publish. I might have forgot to add that page. So if I go to pages, yeah, I still only have 1 page. So let me go back and add that and just publish it real quick without making any changes. Just click this one and publish. Let's add a couple other pages. Add new page. And let's check out. I'm gonna do services again and pick that burger again. Publish, publish. So you have to click publish or else it's not actually gonna show up on the live site. And let's go back pages and let's click on, well, not switch sites. So if you do have multiple sites like I currently have, it'll show you all of them here, but I'm just gonna stick to this one here and click this button and visit the site. And looks like we only have one button for our navigation, just the home button. So we can only see the home page currently, which is not good. Obviously, we want to be able to go to those other 2 pages I just added, but I just wanted to see what the footer looks like on this. And I guess that's it. It's just this home button and site title, blog at wordpress.com. So going back, if you want to see the other pages, untitled and blog, oh, this one didn't give it a name. Just give it a title, services, update. Go back. Alright, so home, services, and blog we currently have. Home is set to the home page, of course. Blog is just one of these other ones I just threw in there. This pancake one. So if you want to add stuff to your menu, right? Because currently it just shows the home page. You're gonna have to click on appearance and then menus. So if you click appearance, there should be a menus in there. This is how you change your navigation. Okay, you could have multiple menus. So right now we have primary menu and social menu. We can see primary menus currently set to primary, and then social menu currently set to social menu. If we click on primary menu, we see that it only has home on it. Okay, and you could click this arrow to see the options, like what do you want it to say on it, home, and you could add some other stuff to it. But if we want to add new items, we'll click add items, and it'll show us the pages that we currently have. And we want to add the services, so we'll add that and the blog. So we click plus, and we just say save changes. And now we should have all 3 buttons available. And if we go back and visit the site, now we have services we can click on and blog we can click on, so we can actually check these pages. Okay, so I'm scrolling down. So that's not the footer. This is the actual footer here, the part that says edit the white area. If you click blog, again, that white area. So this is just like the footer for that one page. But footer, usually you want the footer to be on every page, same thing. And right now it's just this. It's got some buttons to visit the other pages. So it's basically whatever you put on the menu. I put these 3 buttons. They're all gonna be here too. And it also has the site title and some other text here. I don't know if we could get rid of this on the free one, but let's try. So if we want to edit the footer, let's see if we go to, I think it might be part of the theme. Okay, so depending on the theme, there's different ways of editing the footer. Now, when I go to menus, I don't think there was an option. We had the menu, but that's see, it says footer menu here. We can actually uncheck that if we don't want this to be on the footer. So it got removed, but I'll keep that there because we need some kind of site navigation down there. Social links. Let me see what that does. Okay, nothing here, it looks like. Where do we have social links? We don't really have it anywhere. So if we did have social links, I guess it would include um, the menu home services blog in there somewhere. Um, let's go to, let's just check out what options this gives us here. But I don't think the options for the footer are going to be here. Okay, if we scroll down though, oh, if we want to edit the footer, there's a little edit button there. We could probably just click that. So I'll just visit the site again. And as long as you're logged into WordPress, you're gonna see this bar at the top, right? So if we want to edit this, there's an option here. We could just click edit. And where does it take us? It actually just brings us to the page editor. And page attributes, permalink. I don't see I guess we can't remove it because it just, I mean, we could probably add something to it, but I don't know if it's letting us actually edit that footer. I mean, let's just try adding something here, see what it does. Let's say we just put in random block here. Let's not put an image block. Let's put a paragraph. Is this the footer? Update. And click view page. I mean, it's above the footer, but it looks like, I don't know, I still can't tell. Let's check the other pages. If this was really the footer, then it would be on the other pages as well. Let's go to services. Nope, it's not there. So that was not the footer. So I don't know why it took us there when I clicked edit. I guess that edit button was for the rest of this, not the footer itself. Okay, so we'll get rid of that, click edit, and then, so we know that that is not the footer. Update. Let's go back. So most likely to edit the footer, we'd have to go to appearance and customize. Menus, content options, widgets, homepage settings. Actually not there. Maybe it doesn't let us. I mean, it wasn't under menus either. I guess because it's free, maybe that's why we're not really able to remove that little message that says the site was built with WordPress. But later when we use WordPress.org, we'll look at more customizable ways. So we're limited here. We can't do full customization. We can't add any plugins because if you want to add a plugin, you would have to upgrade to the business plan, which would cost you, what is it, like $45 a month, which is way too much. Jetpack is something that you could use to back up your site, but we can't use this either, I think. We have to upgrade for that. Um, what can we do though? If we go to tools, actually, let's go to users. We could invite people. Like I can click an invite here and add people with different roles. So you could have administrators, editors. Administrator has full power. Editor has access to all posts and pages. An author can write, upload photos, edit and publish their own posts. And a contributor can write, edit their own posts, but can't publish them. So I guess they could write it, and then an admin or maybe an editor would have to publish that. And follower can just read and comment on posts. Um, so I can invite any of you guys if you give me your email, I could click type it in here and then invite you as an admin or editor or author. And then once you log into WordPress, doesn't matter which site you're trying to work on, you would basically see on this list of all my sites, it would show you my site as well. If I invited you, then you would be able to work on my site and you'd have the privileges that the role allows you. So um, if I added you as an admin, you'd have full power, but most likely you're gonna wanna, I don't know, maybe add someone as like maybe you hire someone to write you blogs, then you might put them in there as an editor or an author. I don't know what you would need a contributor for, but there's all kinds of websites out there, so there's different options. Um, so media is where you would have. Why do I have these pictures in here? I think this is from LAPC. So it saved these. I guess I added these a long time ago, but they're still here. So media is just what you've uploaded, any images or documents that you've uploaded to use here. Maybe you're gonna use these in one of your images or image galleries. Um, it's just gonna get saved there. Um, so we looked at pages. We wait. I'm on the wrong site. Let me go back. 167. So we have a blog page that we haven't really done anything with. So if we currently look at it, it's got a picture of a pancake here. Featured post. I think when we added this pancake page, it might have also added a post for us. It should have, because otherwise we wouldn't have this my favorite pancake restaurant. This is a post, right? It's a featured post. We could click on continue reading. Well, not here, but once we get out of here, go back to view pages, click on posts. Actually, we don't have the post. So I don't know how that ended up there, but let's visit the site. Click on blog, continue reading. Yeah, it's just a placeholder. So it's just a fake post. It's not a real post. So maybe we'll delete that and make this an actual blog page where all our posts will show up. So if you wanted to do that, um, first of all, you're going to need a post. So we don't have any posts currently, so I'll say add new post. And adding a new post looks very similar to adding a page. We can also add blocks and stuff. So maybe we're making a blog about cars or something. I don't know. 21, 2021 editor's choice. And here maybe we want to add an image or an image gallery maybe. Let's see. or maybe a slideshow. So a slideshow. And then we can upload images to that. I'll just use these as a test. Okay, so these two images right now in my little slideshow. And then maybe add another block down here. So I'll click the plus sign and we'll add a paragraph. And for this paragraph, I'll just put some lorem ipsum. Let's generate 5 paragraphs. Sure, that's kind of a lot, but just take that, copy, and paste. Just some generic text there. You can do things with the text. Of course, you can, make a word bold or italic or both. You can add links within the text, like maybe this links to one of your other pages. You just have to take the URL of that page and paste it in here. The URL, by the way, let's figure out what our URLs are, because you can choose what kind of URLs you want. Like right now, it looks like it's just a number, wst.167.wordpress.com/33. Let's go back. Let's publish this and see if we can change the name of that page. Let's go back here. So now that we have one post, we can go to, let's see, settings. We want to look at the settings for writing. Default post format, standard, categories. So usually you want to have post categories. I don't know if we have one right now. It looks like we don't have a category for this one. Let's go back. It would tell you what your category was here. Doesn't show me, so I guess we don't have any categories. Let's go back to writing. One category, default category, uncategorized. So that's the only category we have. So let's add a new category. Let's say editors posts. Okay, now when we go to posts, let's see if we could categorize it. Or let's add a new post. Add new post. Categories. Okay, so here we can choose under post, instead of block, choose post here. You can choose your category for that post. Let's just add another post here, like another blog post. Just paste some more lorem ipsum in there and publish that one. Okay. So again, posts are just blog things. So if you don't have a blog, you might not make use of posts. But they are basically just more pages, right? You could put images and text in there. You could treat it just like a page. The difference is a blog usually well, how do blogs look? You have posts that you can scroll through, and the newest one is on top, right? So in WordPress, you can have a blog posts page that will show you all of your posts and let you scroll through them. Okay, so currently we do have one. We have one called blog here. I don't know if it's set up to be a blog page, but we'll check in a second. Actually, let's check right now if without us doing any work, does it already show us our blog post or not? Yeah, it does. So we can see here featured post, still that fake one, but right under it we can see latest posts, another blog post, and editor's choice 2021. So if I click that, we can see our post that we just added recently with the picture with the slideshow. But you can see it's gonna get added to the blog page. Okay. So there is an option for that somewhere. Um, go to general settings. Here's where we should add our site title. I'll just say WST167 site tagline. Currently, do we have a tagline? Let me just save this and see if we have a. I mean, we don't have a tagline, obviously, but I want to see what it shows when we visit the site. Up here at the top, just says WST167. So that's our title, what I just put in. So if we go to settings, general, that's what's going to show up at the top tab. And then tagline would just be something that it might show under it. Save that. And these are things, the site title and the tagline, that's something that will show up in Google search results and it'll show up in the tab. So let's stick to this one, visit site. So now it says, instead of just WST167, it says WST167 dash sample tagline. So it's going to show up there. Let's check other settings here. Of course, you could choose the language, site address. We'd have to buy a custom domain to change that, so we can't really change that. Time zone, Los Angeles. Privacy, it's public currently, so anyone can see it. You can also make it private, only visible to you and logged in members that you approve. Everyone else will see a login screen. Footer credit. So we were looking at how can we change that footer. It says you can customize your website by changing the footer credit in Customizer. So let's try that. Oh, it says remove the footer credit entirely with WordPress.com business. So you have to upgrade to remove the footer credit, as I suspected. But what does it let us do? It just brought us to site identity, footer credit default. I guess all we can do is choose one of these other options. Let me see what it says. It says blog at WordPress.com. We can change it to website built with WordPress, WordPress.com logo, WordPress.com site. But if you want to hide it, you need the business plan. So again, that's when we install WordPress.org, or actually install the WordPress software from here. You won't be limited like that. It's just this WordPress.com. Since they're hosting for you, they're also charging for simple things like removing the footer credit. Um, right now I'm just gonna change it to the logo, see what that looks like. I guess that's better because it's smaller. Save changes. And let's get out of there. Reading, media, hosting configuration. We don't need to mess with any of that stuff. Writing, default post format. We already saw this. You could choose to hide testimonials or comments. You don't have to allow people to comment on posts. Um, so if you want to do that, under discussion, comment, author must fill out name and email. So you have options to force people to put their name and email. You could turn that off and have anonymous comments. Um, Users must be registered and logged in to comment. You could also force that. Automatically close comments on articles older than 14 days. So a bunch of comment options here. We also can choose to get email notifications if someone posts a comment. I think that's it from the settings. Anything that we need to see, um, so the other one thing that I wanted to do is figure out how to change the URL, what it says when you visit a page. Okay, so let me open another incognito tab so it doesn't have us logged in, and enter this address again. Okay, so right now it's just that because we're on the home page, but if I click services or blog, well, blog says blog, but services gives us this random number 24-2. It would be nice if it just said services, right? Uh, so normally to change that, you would find it under settings, but I'm not seeing it here. Maybe because we're using WordPress.com free, it probably doesn't let us change that. Actually, it might be here. Appearance. Nope, it's not gonna be there. Maybe under customize. Nope. Yeah, I guess we might not be able to change that here. So it'll be something we'll look at later when we again download the software. Okay, for now, I guess we can't really do anything about it. Oh, actually, maybe we can. Let me go to pages, services, to edit this, permalink. Ah, there we go. So URL slug. I don't know why I put 24.2 there by default, but I think we could just type services here. Services and update. Okay, so where's that incognito tab? Ah, here it is. Okay, so back to the incognito tab. If I click services now, oh, it still says 24-2. Oh, now it says services. So it just needed a couple seconds to update. But now home is just 167.wordpress.com. Services is /services. Blog is /blog. So we're able to change what it says for our URL up there. Okay, so there's not much else to building sites with WordPress. You're just gonna create pages, and if you want, you could create posts. If you want to have a blog, and you can use their block editor. Pretty easy to edit things in here. You're just not going to be able to customize it as fully as you would if you're building it from scratch yourself. Okay, but you get a nice professional looking site. Um, Charge people money, do very little work just by using WordPress. As far as how fast the sites work, there are things that can test the speed of a site, like how well it's made, if it has the proper accessibility features and stuff. Did I close the incognito? Yeah, I did. But you can test it. Let me open up another incognito and see if we can run some, oops, WST, there we go. So if you do an inspect in Chrome, there's something here called Lighthouse at the very end. And this thing will check performance, check if it's a progressive web app, which I don't think WordPress, maybe you can make progressive web apps with WordPress. All that is uh, it's pretty important actually, progressive web app. When you have a progressive web app, that means people on their mobile devices, phones, can install your app just like a regular app, just by clicking a little icon in the top right corner. It'll install the website into your phone, and it'll have a little icon just like any other app. The only difference is you won't be getting it from the App Store, you'll be getting it directly from the website by clicking a little button. So I don't know if WordPress supports all that, but we're going to check performance, progressive web app, best practices, accessibility, and SEO. We don't really need to check because this is just a fake page we're creating. We're not really expecting any good results on search result ranking, so we'll skip that. I'll click generate report, and then it's just going to tell us, give us a score. So for performance, we get 73. So I would say that's probably the main downside for using WordPress, because it uses PHP and really old and has all this just junk that it comes with, just because you're gonna have the features like the plugins and all that. There's a lot of junk that comes with it, so the performance might not be the best. And so that's what we get for performance if we run this simple site here. But again, most of the world uses WordPress. A lot of agencies that people hire to make websites for them, they just use WordPress. They do very little work. So if you figure out the basics of WordPress, like I'm showing you here, um, just watch a couple of other extra tutorials, you'll be ready to build websites for people. Okay, but of course, there's a lot more to WordPress. We're just using existing templates right now, existing themes. But if there is, like I said, it's open source, right? And anyone is allowed to create these templates for it. So we might briefly look at how to create your own templates. So like, for example, this one, 2021, it's a whole theme. This was built by the WordPress team, I guess, because they do one every year. They have 2020, 2021. For every year they have that. But a lot of these are just built by random people. So if you wanted to be one of those random people building this, then there's a little bit more to learn besides just using the whole interface here. That's when you would actually get into maybe learning a bit about JavaScript and PHP if you wanted to build your own theme. Okay. But anyways, um, I don't think I have an idea for an assignment just yet, but tomorrow we'll work on creating something with WordPress instead of just looking at the features and stuff. I'll give you guys an assignment to build some type of blog or a WordPress site. And then next week we'll look at other things. Maybe we'll start installing WordPress.org by then and installing XAMPP and all that. Okay, but I went over past 8, but that's because we kind of started late, so I think now is a good time to take a break. So I'll pause this here. So just like pages, posts should also have that option. Let me just check if they do. Say we click on this one To edit the post, we click the post option, permalink, URL slug, 2021, editor's choice. Oh, but it doesn't really let us remove that date from here though. Yeah, that date that's right there at the end, right before this name. I don't know if we're able to remove it from here. We might not be able to do it. But usually the option to change all of that would be in here somewhere. I think usually under settings, I think. Under settings, maybe under writing, I think, but this case it's not showing it. So it might be something that we can't do in WordPress.com. We'll only be able to do with the actual WordPress software from WordPress.org. But anyway, just mess around with WordPress, just get used to it. So you'll be ready to build a page tomorrow. Okay. So enough 167. Now I'm going to focus on 166. Okay. Alright, so yeah, I'll be lecturing on 166, but the rest of you in 167, stick around till, of course, I have to give you the sign out code later, but until then, use this time to experiment with WordPress, try building a few things, try deleting a page or deleting a site and creating a new one. Click add new site to add new ones, try inviting friends, see if you could see their sites up here too. Alright, so I'm just going to close this for now. And let's talk about GitHub. Alright, so if you're in 166, that means you've already taken 2 HTML, CSS classes already, web design classes. So you should already be familiar with HTML and CSS, right? So the tools that we're going to use for this, we don't need to use Dreamweaver. I don't really use it anyway, even though it costs money compared to VS Code, but it's not all that much better. I don't think it's better at all, honestly. So let's install VS Code if you don't have it. So it's just UGale, right? So if you don't have VS Code, download and install it. Do you already have it? Okay, good. So if you already have it, then I guess maybe we just need to install a few plugins for WordPress, for VS Code. So I'll open up VS Code. And let's get rid of just another project I was working on. Whatever, save that, close that. Right, so if you remember with VS Code, you start a project by opening a folder. So right now, let's just create a new folder on the desktop. I'll just do it through here. I'll say File, Open Folder, go to my desktop, and I'll just create a new folder here called, say, right-click, New Folder, WST166. I'll open that up. Do you trust the authors of the files in this folder? Sure, yes I do. That's me, right? I should trust myself. So we're not really gonna make anything just yet. Let's look at what Git and GitHub are. Okay. So Git, if we go to type not Git, but not GitHub, but just type Git in Google, and it has an official website. So Git is a free and open source distributed version control system designed to handle everything from small to very large projects with speed and efficiency. So what Git is just a system for keeping track of files, um, usually used by web developers, programmers, but anyone can use it. Um, it's like having, uh, well, not Git itself, but GitHub is like having cloud storage for keeping track of files. But what makes Git or using GitHub with the Git version control system better than something like OneDrive or Google Drive or some regular cloud storage? What makes this more useful is it keeps track of all the history. So every change that you make, um, so you work on a file, you do what's called a commit, and every time you commit, you basically save like a state of that file of that project's history. So you have a big project you're working on that has hundreds of uh, different files in there, and that you maybe have multiple people working on those files. Every time they make changes and make a commit, that commit gets saved in the history, and then at any point you can go back to that point in history and see what changes you've made. You can also um, create branches and have people working on. You could have like a main branch where you have your working project. You're developing some kind of application, and you have a team of people working on it. And maybe you ask someone to work on a specific feature of that. Well, they can create a branch and work on that feature, finish it, and then whenever that's ready, they can merge it into the main branch, right? So it's just a very useful tool for um, keeping track of changes. Okay, so you're gonna need to download um, from Git. If you just go to git.scm.com, download 2.3.2 for whatever system you're on. I'm on Windows, so it's showing me the Windows one here. I've already got it installed, but if you click download, it'll start downloading. And what it's gonna come with is something called Git Bash, which is a terminal that you can use. So VS Code already has, you can use terminal in VS Code. If you click this button here or click on terminal, new terminal, this is your terminal. This is where currently I'm on my desktop inside the WST166 folder that I just created. But through terminal, you can do things like make dir or make directory and give it a name. Like if I was creating a web page for, if I was making a website, I might create a CSS folder. So now make dir CSS just created a CSS folder for me. If you looked at that on the actual desktop, you would see there's my WST166 folder and there's the CSS folder that I just created through the terminal. Okay. Um, so before we had operating systems with nice mouse to click on stuff and windows and folders and stuff. Um, Before that, people using computers had to use a terminal to do everything. Okay, so you're gonna have to learn a little bit about using a terminal if you wanna um, be efficient at using Git, and not just for Git, but just as a web developer in general. It's good to know how to use the terminal. There are times where you have to use the terminal; you have no choice. Um, so we'll look at some common commands that you can use to, say, create a folder or create a file, um, copy stuff, navigate through folders, open things. So this is the terminal that we've got open in VS Code. And it's using the bash, what do you call it? Bash console. Okay, so there's different types of consoles. There's a, it's kind of confusing difference between terminal and um, an actual, like we have bash. That's gonna be the thing that you're gonna install when you download this. Just click yes here. So this will set up git bash for me. I already have it, but I'll just go through everything here. So we can see here it says git bash here, git GUI. Just leave all the default stuff, and choosing default editor used by Git. Which editor would you like to Git to use? I'll just use Visual Studio Code. Again, this just leave it on the default. Go through all the default stuff here. The only thing you might want to change is, let's see, this one here. I don't know, for me, this min tty, I don't know, it was giving me problems, so I like to use Windows default console window. Actually, let's see, what else do we need to change? Leave all that, skip those, and then finally you'll install it. So I'm not going to install because I already have it, so I'll press cancel at this point. But for you, you could just pretty much leave the defaults and just click next, 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 and then install finally. I'm going to exit that. So you need to install that if you want to be able to use Git and use the Git commands. So you can also, Windows also has the command prompt. This one also is a terminal. So here I'm on users, David. I want to go to my desktop, so I'll say cd and dot forward slash, or cd dot forward slash, goes back one level. So now I'm on C users, and if I type dir, it'll show me what folders I have in this directory. So volume in drive C is Windows, tells you that, and it tells you what we have here. We have David public. So if I change it to cd David, cd is short for change directory. That's how you navigate. So you change directory to David. Now if I type dir again, we can see all the files, all the folders and files that I have in that David folder. So one of them here is desktop. So cd desktop. Now I'm on my desktop. So if I remember in this one, I created a folder called WST166 on the desktop, and then I used make dir to create a CSS folder. So I should be able to see that WST166 folder on the desktop if I type dir. And there it is, WST167. So if I type cd ws and then if I press tab, it'll auto-complete for me because it sees that there is a 166 there. So now I'm in this folder. So now I'll create another folder here. I've got a CSS. I'll say mkdir, and I'll make a, let's say, images folder. And now you can see I got an images folder created. So I can do it either through command prompt or I can do it through VS Code's terminal, or I can do it with git bash. Okay, so git bash, again, that's the thing that you are installing from here. So if I right click and I say git bash here, you'll get this option once you install GitHub, or I mean once you install git and git bash. You right click on your desktop, you should be able to see this git bash here. So if you do that, it will open up another terminal. So now I've got three different terminals. I got this one, and this one. So I could also use this, but the rules are a little bit different um, from command prompt to this one. And actually, this one here, because it's using bash, it's got the same rules as this git bash here. So the command prompt is going to be a little bit different. So they all have few of the same commands, like make dir works in any of these. Dir also works in any of them. But there's a few that don't work in command prompt. Like an alternative to dir is ls. You can see it kind of does the same thing as dir, but this time with color. Um, you can see Adobe Lightroom Classic, Adobe Lightroom Classic. They both list all your files and folders, but ls is just the more common way. You do it through git bash and here. So you can see CSS and images, the two folders in WST166. It's listing it for me. Um, but if you try to use ls in command prompt, it's not going to know what you're talking about. It says ls is not recognized as an internal or external command. Okay, because command prompt is a slightly different terminal. It has its own commands. Um, I'll put a video right now, real quick, try to explain why they're different, but it's not going to be a big deal. They're mostly the same, and we'll just be using Bash most of the time. Okay, so let me know if you've installed Bash, or if you have any questions. So Gail, if you install Bash, let me know, and we'll start practicing some commands. Okay, if you need time, so again, I just need you to install. Here, I'll give you the link. We're gonna download Git, so I'll paste that into the Discord. Download that. I'll pause this for a second until you do. So if you have Git installed, you should be able to right click and anywhere you can type, anywhere you could right click and click Git bash here. It should open a new terminal, and then whatever folder you're in will be where you are here. So I'm on my desktop, that's why it says desktop. But if I opened in a new folder and I did git bash here, it would open it there. So now it's desktop, but let's say I was in a different folder, like my downloads folder, and I right click git bash here, then now it says downloads. So if I do an ls, it'll list everything in my downloads folder. We'll look at some of these commands from the notes here. I've put a few common ones. I'm gonna close the terminal. Okay, good. All right, so let's figure out why are there so many different terminals and why they don't all use the same language. Okay, so a command line interface, or CLI, is a text-based user interface used to view and manage computer files. Okay, um, so all of these are command line interfaces. This is a command line interface. Um, Command prompt is a command line interface. Git bash is a command line interface. And on Windows, we also have PowerShell, also a command line interface. And then there's other command line interfaces you can download from the internet if you don't like these. Okay. Uh, let's go back to the notes. So a command line interface, text-based user interface. So again, it's a user interface, just like a graphical user interface is an interface, except graphical meaning you can click and you can see stuff and navigate folders and stuff. So before there was graphical user interfaces, um, people using computers only used these um, command line interfaces. Um, so a program on your computer that lets you create, move, rename, navigate, or delete files and folders and run programs. Alternative to a graphical user interface. On Windows, you might know it as Command Prompt or Windows PowerShell. On a Mac, I don't know why I put Macs there. On a Macintosh, you might know it as Terminal. Other names for it: Command Processor, Command Line User Interface. It typically looks like a black window with blinking prompt in which you can type characters. That's what these all pretty much look like. Um, MS-DOS operating system, MS-DOS, DOS, I don't know, I think it's DOS, is a command line interface. So before Windows, that's what people used. And some programming languages support ACLI also. So that's the command line interface. A shell is a program in the shell program is the command language interpreter. Okay, so the shell is what determines what types of commands you can use. So name comes from it being the outermost layer around the operating system. So user types input into the CLI. The CLI sends it to the shell, and the shell generates output and sends output back to the CLI. So examples of shells: bash, fish, zsh, ksh, sh, ts, ch, PowerShell, command, Yori. So there's a bunch of different examples of shells. Um, so bash should be familiar because that's what this is using. I'm using bash in Visual Studio Code's command line interface, and I'm also using bash with the one that got installed when I downloaded Git and installed Git. So Git is using bash. So it's called git bash. Okay. So it gives you a command line interface, and behind the scenes it's using the bash shell. So is this one. Now, command prompt is a different shell, so uh, Visual Studio Code actually lets you use different types of shells. If I click this plus sign in my terminal, or click the little drop down, we can see that I can use PowerShell, command prompt, git bash, and some other ones. So if I click on PowerShell here, we can see um, now I got a different one here. You could actually have multiple. So these two are using bash. Let me just get rid of one. So this is bash. This is PowerShell. And then we can add command prompt. So here's command. So they're all different shells, or yeah, different shells, but they're all using this command line interface. Okay. Now, Bash is the most popular because, I don't know, this just Macs use that by default, and I think on Linux, I don't know, it's just the more popular one. So that's what we're going to be using, the Bash shell. So we're going to be using things like ls instead of like make dir. I mean, sorry, not make dir, which lists your folders. That one works in both Bash and in. Actually, I think the only reason why it works here is just because of, I don't know, the way it's installed here on the Windows. It includes some support for other commands, but in Bash normally it's ls. You can see both dir and ls will list my folders for me. Okay, so two different languages. Let's go back to the notes. So Bash stands for Born Again Shell, popular default shell or command language interpreter on Linux and Mac. It's a pun on Stephen Bourne, the author of the direct ancestor of the current Unix shell. So shell was like the old shell language, and Bash is just born again shell, I guess, named after Stephen Bourne, who was the author of the direct ancestor of the current Unix shell. So developed by Brian Fox, released in 1989, and these are some common Bash commands. Okay, so if you type echo, it's going to print text to the terminal. So why don't we try some of these just to get some practice. So here's my git bash. You could do it here or you could do it in Visual Studio. I'm just going to close Visual Studio for now, and I'll do it here in this one just because it's more simple. It's just the window. I'm on the desktop here. For echo, it doesn't matter if I'm just echoing out something. So echo hello, it's just gonna say hello. That's all that does. But if you say echo hello and you put a arrow like this and then say hello.txt, that should create. Now let's do an ls. We can see here there's a hello.txt. So when I typed ls to list my directories, we see that now there's a hello.txt. If I could show you my desktop, here it is. You could see here, well, I'm dragging it from my desktop here, but there's a hello.txt. I'm using two windows right now, so I mean two monitors. So all my desktop icons and all that stuff on my desktop is on the other monitor, so you can't see it here, but there it is. So if you looked at my desktop, you'd see there's a hello.txt now. If I double click on it, you can see it just says hello in there. So echo just writes something. Go hello world. But if you do echo hello world, and then actually let's do echo world and do a double arrow, and I'll type hello.txt, that should add world now. So now it says hello and then world. Okay, so a single arrow will, so if we say echo something and put a single arrow into hello.txt, we look at hello.txt, now it just says something. So it just replaced everything with whatever I typed here, something. But if you do echo something else, and I put two arrows into hello.txt, let me close this and open it again. and we get something else. So it doesn't replace it, it adds to it. Okay. Anyways, it's just like one of those things that's pretty cool to know using these the arrow and the double arrow. It's basically it takes what echo is putting out. So echo something puts out just the word something, and it redirects it into a file called hello.txt. If it doesn't exist, it will create it. If it does exist, it'll just add that inside the file. And then the double arrow, instead of replacing everything inside hello.txt, it'll just add it to the end of it. Okay, it'll append. And there you saw me type in another common command here, clear. Let's do a couple more echo hello, echo world. You can also type CLS. Actually, sorry, CLS does not work. That works only in um that'll only work in command prompt. So if we had command prompt, I typed echo hello. Echo works here too, by the way. Echo world. If I type clear, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. Here, clear will just clear the terminal. And here, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. But if I type CLS, it clears it. In this one, if I type CLS, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. But if I type clear, it clears it. So, a couple different differences right there. So in the command prompt, CLS is what clears everything. In bash, clear is what clears everything. Alright, so let's look at some other ones. But let me give you a couple seconds to try it. Echo and clear. And try echo with the arrow and the two arrows. We already looked at ls, lists directory contents. The alternative to ls, if you're using command prompt, is just dir for directory. I'll give you a couple seconds. Let me know if it's not working or if you have questions. Yeah, I created a file called hello.txt. So let me delete hello.txt, make a new one. So I just deleted. Actually, I could have used remove dir to remove. Actually, no, remove dir removes a folder. You can also type in like help to see list of commands. Like remove will remove a file, but we can type rm-help and it'll tell you what that does. So usage, rm, and then options, and then the file that you want to remove. So if I type rm-f, that's the option would be the f force, and then file would be what file I want to remove. So I will create it again. I'll say echo hello world, and I'll redirect that into a file called hello.txt. So now it created a file called hello.txt. There it is. I'm just dragging it from the other screen. It's there. So I could also ls to see that it's there. There it is, hello.txt. So if I want to remove hello.txt, I can type rm hello.txt, and it just removed it. So now if I type ls again, we can see there's no more hello.txt, where it was there before. Now it's not because I used remove. which is not listed here, but remove dir removes the directory, just rm without the dir for deleting a file. So again, the arrow will redirect your output. So it's not just with echo that you can use the arrows. You can use it with other things. It's just echo is just a simple way to output something. So, because this is the output, right? I type echo hello, and then the next line it says hello. But if you type echo hello and you use the redirection symbol, that arrow, it will place it in another file. So the first hello doesn't matter if I use a single or double, but after that I should use a double if I don't want to replace the entire text, right? So if I say hello and then I put it in hello.txt again, and we look at hello.txt, we can actually we can say cat hello.txt, and that will read what's inside hello.txt for me. Right now, if I type echo world with the exclamation, and I put a single arrow, and I put it into hello.txt, and I cat hello.txt again, now it just says world, right? So cat reads the file, whatever file you put. But if I say echo hello, let me just type let's just type world. It already says world, so let's tag something else. Let's say echo dot this is a new line, and let's put double arrow this time. Put that in hello.txt again, and cat hello.txt. Now we can see it says world, and then on a new line it says this is a new line. If I showed you the file here, there it is. World, this is a new line. So exactly what it says here. So I didn't list cat here, but cat is a very useful one because it reads files for you. It does other things too. I'll type C clear and clear all that. So you can create a file by using that redirection arrow. You can also create it with touch. Hello world.txt. So that should create a new file here called hello world.txt, which is empty though, because all I did is create it. I didn't really put anything inside, so it's just a file called hello world.txt. I'm just gonna remove these two now. Remove hello. There is a way to remove both at the same time using, let's see, how can we do it? We can't really, I have other text files there that I don't want to delete. I could have it delete all .txt files, but I'll just do it one by one. I'll just remove hello.txt and remove hello world.txt. I'm sure there was a way to remove both of them, like remove anything that starts with hello. Maybe there's a way to do that. Just don't know how to do it right now. But ls, and we can see there's no more hello or hello world here. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. Make dir creates a directory, so you could create a folder with make dir, let's just say hello. And I've created a folder called hello on my desktop. So this is a folder now instead of a file. If I wanted to get rid of it, I would use remove dir. But let's look at the next one here, grep for searching. So let's type grep and type let me type LAPC. And so what it's doing is it's stuck in like a search mode right now. I don't think it didn't find anything, I guess. Actually, Control C, by the way, gets out of those situations. Actually, I don't think it did. Let me see, grep. I might be using it wrong. Sorry. Let's type grep and then dash dash help. Oops, not equal equal dash dash. So how do we use grep? So grep option and then pattern and then file. So search for pattern in each file. Example grep dash I for the option. Let's see, dash I does ignore case. So don't care if it's capital or small letter. Grep dash I hello world, and it checks inside this file. So menu.h main.c. I guess two different files it's checking in. So I guess what we should do is create the files first. That would make sense. So let's type echo hello world. It's me again. And then let's put that into a file called hello.txt. Okay, let's oh wait, what am I doing? I think I might still be, why didn't it stop there? Try that again. Echo hello world. Hello.txt. Okay, that's weird. I don't know why it didn't do it the first time. But okay, I've got my hello.txt again. And let's try to search for the word. I don't know why clear is there. Just type some other stuff. My name is David. Close that and save it. And let's try grep. We'll pass the option -I for case insensitive. We're gonna look for let's just look for DAV. We're gonna check inside hello.txt. And it shows me the line where it found it. It says my name is David. So now let's search for DF, letter DF. So grep -I df, check again in hello.txt, and it shows me that line where it found it. Okay, so it searches documents. I guess I was trying to use it to search for folders, but I guess you don't use it for that. Or maybe you do. Maybe you can search for folders. Let's try grep-I and let's look for LAPC again in the current folder. So usually to check the current folder, you put a dot. Maybe that will work. Or maybe a dot /. I'll just put a dot. Grep dot is a directory. Oh, yeah. So it doesn't let you check directories, I guess. It's only for files. Okay. CD is, again, I mentioned that earlier. That's how you change directories. Let's close that and this one. So I'm on the desktop, but if I cd into LAPC, now I'm in the LAPC folder. I type ls. Let's see all my LAPC files and folders here. Clear that. Move is for moving or renaming directory. I don't know if it works for files. Let's try it on a file first. Try move hello.txt. Actually, before we do, let's type move dash dash help. See the options for this. So usage, move, and you have the option, the source, and the destination. Let's see, does it have a good example? Let's just try it. I don't think it gives us an example here. But we need move plus an option like force or interactive, clobber. I don't know if we'll use these options. We'll skip the option. Um, and then the source and the destination. Let's just try it. So let me see if it'll work with the file. Move hello.txt, the source. Let's just try just typing LAPC, not with exactly no such file or directory. Oh, I'm in the wrong. I'm in the LAPC folder. I need a CD out of there, so dot dot forward slash back on the desktop. By the way, dot dot forward slash is how you go back in the directory. So you want to get out of a folder, same way you would do it in VS Code. Like if you've taken the web design classes before, you know that when you're linking to a file, if you need to exit a folder, like um, maybe you're trying to link to an image from your CSS file, which is inside a CSS folder, but you can't link directly from that file because you have to exit the CSS folder and then go into the images folder, then you would do dot dot forward slash and then images, right, to get out of the CSS folder. Well, it's the same thing here. So dot dot forward slash goes back in the directory. So now I'm back on the desktop. So I'll try move hello.txt. Try moving that to LAPC. And if I open my LAPC, there it is, hello.txt. So simple as that. You don't have to add any of the other options like the source destination. Um, I guess you would need to do that if you're trying to move something outside of there. So let's say I'm on the desktop again. If I try to move hello.txt to LAPC, it's not gonna know where hello.txt is because I'm on the desktop and I'm saying move hello.txt, but it can't find that file on my desktop. So what I would do is, I guess I could say move hello.txt from the LAPC folder to I don't know if I should type desktop or just dot forward slash here. No such file or directory. Let's try like this. Dot forward slash LAPC dot forward slash. Nope. Okay. I'm not expert enough to move things from other folders, I guess. can only do it if it's in the current directory. So I'll cd into lapc. Now, what happened? Ooh, I did something. So all this typing, I did something. I kind of lost my lapc folder. I moved it somewhere. I don't know where. Well, that's a bummer. I just lost my lapc folder. It's not on my desktop anymore. Oops. Um, Hopefully I'll find it later. Maybe I moved it one folder back or something. Let's see. If we're on the desktop, you go back one. Nope, it didn't move back. I don't know what happened to it. Just lost it. Anyways, remove directory would remove a folder, but I just lost my folder anyway, so hopefully nothing important in there. If there was, I'll find it. That would be useful if we could use um, the grep to search for it, but again, that's only for searching within a file. Um, Actually, there is a command to search folders. Just don't remember it. Maybe I could find dash help. Let's see. Default path is the current directory. I don't know. Find lapc. Will that work? Find lapc. What were the options? I don't know. It is too complicated. I'll just look for it later. Oh, what are we doing? Guess I'm searching my entire desktop right now. Oh, and because I have all these React Gatsby files. There's a lot of stuff in there. It's gonna try to search the whole thing, and it did not find it, obviously, because it's not on my desktop. So I will clear that. By the way, clearing doesn't completely clear everything. Actually, it does here. But if you press up on the keyboard, will show you your last commands. So if my last one was clear, so I press up once, it shows clear. Press up again, it shows the other stuff I typed before. Anyways, I think that's enough practice. Oh, it's already 9:48, by the way. 9:49. We're out of time anyway, so next class we'll look at the rest of this and start looking at Git. And that gives me time to look for my lapc folder. Again, don't worry, there's nothing important in there, just a bunch of class files that I could always make again. So let me give you the sign out code. No worries.